everyone, and welcome to an exciting episode of Geeks Not Nerds, the podcast. I'm Captain Logan.
And I am TheRealManos.
And I've got Manos back on the show today to do a commentary podcast on Mask of the Phantasm, and I am just stoked, Manos.
Yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to party like it's 1993.
This is, of course, one of my very, very favorite films. And I don't mind even saying just favorite films, not even just Batman. This is just one of my favorite movies in general.
I gotta agree with that, too. This is definitely one of my favorite films as well. Batman or whatever, actually.
And so I'm excited because I get to watch this again, and it's one of my favorite movies. And I'm not sure I've sat down and watched this since I did the rewind on it like 3 years ago. And I'm also excited because I get to talk to TheRealManos, and it's been a long time, it feels, since we've done one of these.
Yeah, that's true. It's been a long, long time since Batman and Robin, hasn't it?
So now we're back to Batman together, and Manos and I have some surprises for you planned out for later on. We're going to be back doing more of these commentaries together. Anyway, right now it's time to do Mask of the Phantasm. So if you want to watch the film with us while we're talking, if you've never listened to one of these before, what you can do is put in your DVD or your Blu-ray, however you have Batman Mask of the Phantasm, get it rigged up to timestamp 0, get it past all the menus and everything, get it rigged up, get it paused at 0, and then hit play when I say now. But this is also a podcast on top of being a commentary. It's a 2-for-1 deal. And you can listen to this even without watching the movie if you'd prefer, and we will do our level best to provide plenty of context for what we're talking about as we go along. We'll be talking through every second, if possible, of this movie. Manos, are you ready?
I am all set, as
all right,
I was fixing everything.
Everybody press play right now.
And here we go. This is the Warner Brothers logo with the Bugs Bunny Warner Brothers logo, where they tried very hard to make that part of their thing, I guess.
Well, it was really cool for a while. It was kind of classy.
It was kind of nice. Well, I think it was Warner Brothers again, kind of, in a way, kind of mimicking the Disney thing, where
Absolutely. Yeah.
Disney almost always has Tinkerbell show up. But here we go, Batman Mask of the Phantasm. Now, as you see, this is the 3D, the CG 3D model they used of Gotham that they developed for this film. And they were really proud of this, by the way.
Well, and at the time, it looked great. Not that it looks bad now or anything. It's certainly a little dated.
Yeah, it still blends in pretty well with the animation. Now, if this
sure
it
does.
If this was a live-action film, this would be in poor shape. But,
well, yeah, of course. But no, I think what's cool about it is that it's not being, 3D. It's not making too big of a deal out of, hey, look, it's 3D. Yeah. Like, it still blends pretty well with the 2D animation. It's that same design. It looks like that.
It's not like the 90s Amazing Spider-Man series, which, wow, I mean, that was jarring. Sometimes I feel like I've been hit in the head with CG.
Yeah, the 90s Spider-Man series had that. There was an episode of The Tick that had that too. There was like a spaceship that every time they went outside the spaceship, it was in 3D and it looked entirely different. It's like, what? That's silly.
As we're watching these credits, let's put a shout out right now to Shirley Walker and the music she did for this film, and actually Batman in general. I mean, that opening chant theme is just fantastic still.
Yeah, and it's a great rendition of that, and it's really memorable, and I think it's one of the big things that she's remembered for. I mean, this theme always has been, but that version of it.
Oh, I know.
It just hits you in the face right away. I think it's cool how this movie doesn't waste any time, and it just goes, it goes straight for the opening credits, and has that really operatic score, and you're like, wow, this isn't going to be just an episode of the TV show, is it?
Yeah, and even in the TV show, I mean, compared to other animated shows,
of
at
course,
the time where it was like maybe a guy and a keyboard.
They were very proud of the fact that they had full orchestra on every episode. We didn't do this with animation.
Yeah.
And they scored these. Shirley Walker scored these, and they recorded them like you do for film soundtracks.
Yeah.
Every episode. Great.
By the way, the actor playing let's see, this is Chucky, right? Chucky Saul's the first kid.
I think so. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This actor. Let's see. This is Dick Miller, by the way. And Dick Miller is like a classic B-movie actor. He is in literally tons of classic fun crap. A lot of Roger Corman stuff. And you may remember him best from Gremlins. He's the old guy from the two Gremlins movies.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's funny.
Yeah, I love every time I see Dick Miller. It's like, oh my God, it's Dick Miller. Great. He occasionally pops up in quality films and just the cheapest crap. It's so weird. He even had a bit part in Pulp Fiction, which they actually had to cut because it didn't fit the time. And of course, here's our villain, Phantasm.
The movie immediately establishes some credibility here versus, cartoon shows, especially because remember this was theatrical.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it didn't make any money, but it was shown in the theater, and they just didn't. I just think that it was advertised poorly, and nobody knew it was there. Or they
this is the weirdest thing. Did you hear about the background on that?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know how much you know about the background of this, but this was meant to be a direct-to-video release.
No, yeah, right. And then at the last minute, they decided to put it in the theater.
Last minute, the studio was going, "Wow, this looks great. We should totally put this on theater screens." And they were going, "Oh, great." I think they probably gave them a little more budget. And then
unfortunately, they did not have an advertising budget.
I know. And then they finished it, and they just dumped it in the theaters and don't advertise it. I mean, I had to find it. I saw it in the theater, I think twice, and the theater was empty. And it's just, I don't know, it broke to be honest, I didn't care because I got to see this on the big screen.
Yeah, that's a big deal. I wish I had.
And
I was huge into the show and I didn't know it was in the theater.
Yeah, I know.
And also it's rough because it was like Christmas, I want to say.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say about establishing credibility, because we're so far past the scene I was talking about now.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. But immediately, the first thing Phantasm says, and of course this is Phantasm's catchphrase through the whole movie, is your angel of death awaits. You didn't hear the words "death or die" in Fox cartoons, and immediately this thing is more for. It's still a family movie, but it's playing for its adult audience. And going, yeah, we're basically going to give you an animated feature that script-wise could have been live action.
Yes, and they're not afraid to do like adult things in this film, like the
animated series was that way too, but they were somewhat restricted by what they could get away with on television.
Well, of course, yeah, and actually,
this movie didn't have to worry so much about that. And
surprisingly enough, Fox was actually more restrictive than WB, from what I understand. Which I had thought, from what I saw on Fox, that wasn't the case, but they constantly got crazy notes for censorship.
Yeah. No, they did with the Spider-Man show and stuff like that. And in fact, now that I say that, this was shown on, the Fox Kids network, but it was obviously owned by Warner. So I could be wrong. We may have had the word death in episodes of that show. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think they did.
Maybe they did go that far. Well, of course, you never saw a character die or anything.
Or they had to kind of insinuate death.
Right, exactly.
And this episode, characters have sex. And characters smoke.
Yeah.
I remember.
Why, we can't even have characters smoke now, Manos.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that weird? But I remember Bruce Timm was really excited, just at the fact that he could have characters smoke in the movie, and they're bad guys, but still, who cares?
Yeah, that's a great point.
Because
he's doing classic gangsters, they really should have cigars.
Yeah.
Boy, it is really hard to animate whatever the red alcoholic beverage is there in those glasses.
You notice a lot of the extras don't really move in this.
Oh, that's a good point. Look at the guy in the background. He's just got his mouth hung wide open. That's hilarious. There's another guy that looks like he's sleeping.
By the way,
wow, you're right. That's awful. I never noticed that.
yeah, that's one of the limitations. They had this maybe a few more million.
Wow, animate your. Wow, that's actually really bad. Now that I've seen it, I cannot unsee it.
Oh, sorry. There's a couple of moments here and there where you could see the budget couldn't really take advantage of,
sure.
The animation. They couldn't push it as far as they'd like to. There's a couple of shots here and there that just on the big especially didn't really work as well.
But we've still got the wonderful charm of the hand-drawn animation and
I know. Oh my god.
And cell animation, and just like in the TV show, you can still see occasionally little pieces of dust here and there.
Yeah, and it's funny when you watch the commentaries on the episodes. Bruce Timm will happily point those out.
Yes, that's why I mentioned it.
He's so embarrassed by them. But I don't know.
Which is sad because they give it, it dates them to a degree, but also the show in a way wanted to be dated, right? Because it was borrowing so heavily from Fleischer.
Yeah.
That it really should have that look more than like once you got to the more digitally rendered stuff. It lost a little bit of that charm. There was certainly a lot more visually that they were able to do at that point, and so it allowed them to achieve a lot of things, especially once they did Justice League and they had so many characters on screen and they were going to space and all these different things that they could never have really managed, or at least as effectively, in this show. But at the same time, boy, I just really like the look and feel of old Cell animation.
It's wonderful. It's so much more fluid.
Maybe I'm waxing a bit nostalgic, but
yeah, I know. There are times where I wonder if maybe that's just a generational thing, and hey, I should really just get with times, and this is how art evolves. But there's a beauty and a human element in cell animation that I still have not seen, for the most part, in CG.
I just look at this and I can see the labor on screen. I guess that's what I like about it, is that I can, it's exactly the same thing as like the model work in Star Wars versus when it's CG. You can see the work that went into it.
And when you watch the original King Kong, you can, when you watch him move and you see his hair moves, that's because that's actually the result of the artist's hands on the King Kong figure as he adjusts him for the shot.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. So when you see his hair and fur move a little bit in a weird way, that's the result of that. And you are literally seeing the artist's hands at work. And by the way, we just missed the Dana Delaney scene, her first entry into the film.
Right.
Where she continued on with the Bruce Timm universe as Lois Lane.
Because she's a wonderful voice actress.
She's fantastic. She's a great actress, too. I remember when I first saw her, she was in a TV show called China Beach during the 90s, about around this time, actually, which is a Vietnam show about a nurse. And she's never really hit the big time, live action-wise, but she's always been, close. She's got a show now on, I forgot what channel, where she plays a forensic investigator, but I cannot remember the name of that show. So many of these shows kind of almost have blurred together to me.
When I was a kid, it really struck me how much of a strong female character Andrea Beaumont was without it being in your face and obnoxious women's lib about it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, she is in a way what Josh Whedon talks about, being, hi, Officer Bullock.
Yep, that's Bullock. I love that. That's great.
I love me too.
He only looks slightly younger.
But anyway, well, you're right. She does remind me of what Josh Whedon. He was talking about Battlestar Galactica, but he was basically talking about this the next generation of female characters in sci-fi, where we've kind of moved out of the 70s and 80s And instead of like trying to show how competent this character is, now let's just do these strong characters that just happen to be women. And there can be a problem where you're trying too hard to make the character a role model, and you forget to have the character be a person.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I think
where it becomes preachy, and it's not about the character; it's just about a message you want to put across.
Yeah.
And this movie doesn't have that problem. Of course, it does take that strong female character and it makes her a villain. But I like that's maybe slightly Batman's fault.
Yeah, a little.
Maybe just a little bit. You know, I like that a lot. You know, I like that that we've got a girl that can actually stand up to Batman. Because if you're gonna buy Bruce Wayne dating anyone and her finding out that he's Batman, you've got to have that. You know,
Would you say Andrea is the strongest? Well, not. I shouldn't say strongest. Is the best female lead that Batman's had in the theatrical films, including all the Tim Burton and Nolan movies?
Wow, them's fighting words. Maybe I'd have to think about it.
Possibly, but I mean, who's she got to compare with?
Yeah, well,
Rachel Dawes and
that's the thing is that I actually to a degree kind of like Rachel Dawes.
I like Rachel Dawes too, but
actually I don't even want to say to a degree. I guess the reason I was finicky about that is because I'm like, well, I feel kind of like between Begins and Dark Knight they're slightly different characters because of the different ways that they're portrayed, right? So, you know, I guess maybe I like one version a little better than the other version, but by and large, I like that character.
Well, I do too.
So
but
it's hard to say that she's not really.
She's a fascinating character. She's always been a fascinating character to me.
Character, is she?
And she basically moves the plot. And I think I can't name another Batman lead female that did that.
No, you're right about that.
Well, wait, maybe with the exception of Talia and Rises, but
yeah,
you don't know until the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, so it's not done so much by the character we get to see on screen.
Yeah, she's not a presence in the movie.
Right. Yeah. Well, at least not in the way we think she is. But yes, you're absolutely right.
Well, and then there's long stretches where you just forget about her.
Yeah.
That's not. Oh, I love this moment with Alfred, which gets repeated later.
It's hilarious.
Oh, I love that scene where they're flirting about jiu-jitsu. Oh, by the way, here is Arlene Sorkin's only moment in the movie, where she says, "Hey, Brucey."
I didn't realize that was Arlene Sorkin.
That's Arlene Sorkin, yeah.
That's hilarious. This is one of my big go-to examples for how to do origin stories in superhero films.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to discuss this a little bit because this is one of the things that some people that don't care as much for this movie don't really like, is just that, you know, we had to go back to Batman first becoming Batman. But I think that it's neat to do it in a movie because they didn't go there in the series, and the series is so episodic that it's really nice that they didn't do it there. This really is the place for that. And yet it's not a straight-up origin film because it's present day, and then the backstory informs what's going on now, and so you get two, you get a story that you have to have in flashback, because I'm somewhat anti-flashback a lot of the time, but here, this is one of those cases I think that it's working, because it's a little more non-linear, where we need that background in order to know what's going on now, because this is not a character that we knew existed, and ultimately she's going to be our big bad guy at the end, so we've got to know everything about her. And those stories, it's been a while since I've watched this, but those stories, you know, parallel each other to a degree, and it's kind of nice to see where Bruce was versus where he is now, and how, you know, his past haunted him to the point where he had to become Batman and then keep being Batman, and what he lost because of it. So yeah, I think the story has to be told this way.
I agree, and also, you know, his background does affect the story, but it's not directly dealing with his origin. Like his origin isn't directly the cause of what's going on.
Yes, precisely.
But it was part of it.
And yet we get to see the first moment he puts the mask on, and all of those sorts of things that are really nice to get to see in this universe.
Yeah. So like the Phantasm's involvement, you know, with the current murder mystery and his origin is really nicely tied together. It's almost effortless, and I've seen people do things similar to this, so sloppy.
Yeah.
It's just amazing to me.
It's just so much more sophisticated than the origin pictures that we keep getting time and time again, not just for superheroes, but all kinds of other kinds of action heroes, right? Where the point of the story is to get them to where we know them already.
Oh no, Bromsky,
in the
don't
last
blink.
5 minutes. This movie is in places very haunting, and I love that. It does this horror stuff very well.
Well, this sequence is very excellent. I mean, good lord. I mean, he's being chased at the cemetery, and
into an open grave.
It's thrown into an open grave and crushed to death by this angel. And
this guy is definitely crushed to death.
Yeah, well, yeah, you listen to that sound effect.
Oh, yeah, it's right. And again, it's establishing credibility, and that's not to say that things can't be, non-violent and wholesome to still be appreciated by adults, but for this material, this is Batman, he's investigating murders. We need those things to establish the stakes. So it's nice to not be, pulling our punches with also, that stuff. But also, it's all done off screen, so it's done in a very classy sort of way, where kids could still watch it.
And here comes Abe Vigoda in the movie, his character.
But I'll tell you, that grave scene creeped me out when I was a kid, man.
Oh, it's good. Well, good. It's a creepy scene. It's extremely well done. And now, to be honest, this film didn't need the Joker, but the way he's entered, the way he's placed in this film works. And yeah, I understand. You want to get your main villain somehow involved, for marquee purposes. But I think the way he's woven in isn't obnoxious. Or
it's not. Great. I'm with you. It doesn't need him at all. But if he had to be there, I don't think that they could have done that in any better at all.
Yeah. One of my only quips about the movie is how little Gordon is involved with this film.
That's a good point.
And I mean, keep in mind, this came after the first two Tim Burton movies where he's barely a blip. So it's like, I remember watching this like, oh man, not even this movie. He's a big
That's
actor.
A great point.
And I love this detection scene. You know what? I don't see enough scenes especially film, of Batman quietly doing his detective work.
Well, that's because we still haven't had a film series that makes that its main focus.
I know.
There's a little bit of that in the Nolan films. I mean, he's not a detective, but this is, of course, a Batman that was specifically trained in detective work, and we certainly don't get that with the Nolan films or with the Burton films.
And I gotta say, I love this moment where Andrea figures out he's Batman. It's so subtle and so cool, and it's done early. It's not like at just before the climax.
I would argue that she maybe already knew.
That's true. Maybe this was...
I mean, I know that they're playing this up as if... Well, she does... Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that. She does say Bruce. Like, okay, never mind. No, she just now figured it out.
Yeah. I love this scene.
I would have almost liked it better if... No, it's a great scene, but I would have almost liked it better if she had come to Gotham specifically thinking that Bruce Wayne was probably Batman. Like, having already put it together, knowing his past.
Well, watching this for the first time, you obviously think that she's come to Gotham to stop her father.
And you obviously think that the guy that she's having dinner with right now is the Phantasm. That's the red herring.
Yeah, what a great shot. I love that shot of him spying on them.
Me too.
That is so I love it. Hey, here's a cool fun fact about Hart Bochner, who plays this guy. He is best known to me, I don't know what else he's done, but he is best known as that Weasley guy from Die Hard.
That's hilarious.
That gets shot.
All the random things you know.
Yeah, like I eat this stuff up. I love it. But let's see. Now we're at the World's Fair. But yeah, Yeah, I guess Hart Bochner has played like a career of like weasels. I don't know. I feel bad for people who look like that. So,
This
it's
is
like, great, that's all I got to play for my
it's
entire
hilarious.
career.
This is one of my wife in my most quoted scenes of all of film.
Oh, really? This one?
Yeah, this World of the Future plays,
Yeah.
because we like to go around singing the song. It's like, no, not the future!
And I love how it comes into play later.
It's the world of the, oh, no, it's the house of the future!
That's something similar Lindsay and I do, actually. But, but the way we do it is influenced off Mystery Science Theater, where every time there's something they do a movie where it's the future, and it's something incredibly lame that's supposed to be of that era.
Oh, Batmobile.
They go, it's of the future! Food courts of the future!
That's hilarious.
Lindsay and I kind of do that a lot, actually.
I like that there's little subtle things about his future, like he sees what will become the Batmobile.
Yeah.
And that's neat, because it is a futuristic design.
Yeah, and you can see where, subtly it, influenced him, like, oh yeah, that's a really cool idea. Maybe I'll make my car obscenely long where I can't go over hills.
Because it's not exactly the same. It's about the same design, but yeah, I mean, it's kind of, it doesn't seem like he probably came back here and like, stole blueprints for it or something. Like, he just probably remembered the outline and then built it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it can't be any more than that.
We talked over this, and I wanted to mention this because we'll see it again later. But another thing that creeped me out when I was a kid is the kitchen knife robot.
Yeah.
That looks suspiciously like Rosie the Robot from the Jetsons.
Yeah, I'm sure that was possibly an influence.
No, that was most certainly an influence. Another thing I wanted to mention was this is a stupid random thing to mention, but she wears this like gray turtleneck through a lot of this movie.
Yeah.
And they actually gave her that turtleneck in the Phantasm action figure that you take the head off and it's sort of pissed off and it's actually her. Like, they actually gave her something to wear that she wore in the movie. I was sort of surprised by that.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. Instead of some stupid, bizarre, tight outfit that they put on action figures.
But I wanted to mention that action figure because that ruined this movie for people.
Oh, really? You saw the figure before you saw the movie?
Yeah, the way they packaged it?
Yeah.
Well, a lot of figure lines come out well before the movie does, a month or two or more, and this was no exception. And or at least I think it did. And the thing you got to remember too is that it was released kind of simultaneously, I think, with some of the other Batman the Animated Series figures. The packaging was similar.
Yeah, so reddish orange or something.
Lumped in with that stuff on the shelves, right? Well, her figure, the Phantasm figure, in the package, had the mask off.
Yeah, not good.
Can you believe that?
I bought it. I saw it. I'm so glad
I didn't know you knew that.
I'm so glad I didn't see that before I saw the movie, because I'll be honest, they kind of had me fooled up until maybe the scene before.
I didn't know. I mean, I think it's a really good reveal.
Yeah. Oh, it's a wonderful reveal. Because the scene before, I was starting to feel like, oh wait, we haven't seen her father like in the present. It started to dawn on me. It's like we've only seen him in the flashbacks. But it's such a clever. That's a good use of flashbacks, because we see him plenty of times in the flashbacks. It isn't until maybe late into the movie you don't even realize he's not popped up at all in the present.
Well, and again, he's not the only red herring. We've still got that kind of conniving guy that's trying to get her to date him.
Well, having her use a voice changer in her costume was a clever idea.
Of course, the biggest thing I complained about when I reviewed this, and I still think it's a problem, is that...
Wait. Before we go any further, I'm going to mention this Akira reference right here. Right there when Bruce knocks the guy off the bike.
Right.
These animators are big Akira fans, and there's two Akira references. One in this film, which we just saw, and there's a episode Robin's Reckoning, like part 2, there's a like direct Akira lift. It's so funny where Robin is screeching on his bike, and it's almost the exact same shot of Kaneda doing that in that film. I don't know if you haven't seen Akira.
I've not. I've always heard that those references are there.
Where he
but I've never
knocks that
seen
guy
the
off
movie.
the bike is
Right.
Actually, I tend to like the version Kaneda did in Akira better because he just jumps on the wheel and just kicks the guy in the face. I guess they changed it because I guess didn't want people to catch it, but I don't know. I mean, I saw that and instantly caught it. All right, I'm sorry. I just had to get it.
I'll mention the thing I was going to say a little later. I want to talk about this scene for a minute.
Oh yeah, this is wonderful. This is extremely great writing, actually.
I really appreciate that we've got a Bruce Wayne here that he really doesn't want to do this. And it's kind of neat that he seems more real to me than other versions here. And I know some people don't really care for this, but I don't think that it's like against the heart or the soul of the character, because he eventually will get to the more hardened Batman that we know. But I think that a younger guy, he's 18, 20 here. I think our younger Bruce Wayne here, it makes perfect sense that he was getting hardened as he was getting older. He made that vow to his parents. But like he says in this scene, it's different now. Wouldn't his parents want him to be happy? He found somebody that he'd like to be with. And this is sad, it really pulls at my heartstrings. And when he finally, feels like something that I'm sure is only coincidence, tells him, later on when the bats fly up and everything, which, I mean, yeah, that's a little overkill. But, anytime that happens to the Batman thing, I'm always like, really? There's bats right now? Okay.
But so much subtlety in the movie, some, blatantness.
Yeah, that is pretty theatrical, but I mean, like, when he thinks the universe is telling him, more importantly his parents are telling him, you've got to do this because you promised and no one else can, no one else is capable, and he's got to choose between those two things, that is instantly relatable.
And it's also very believable that, he would spend all this time training, and then once he gets there to the cliff, and looks out, it's gotta be intimidating.
It's great,
because let's remember that, Superman hasn't popped up in this universe yet, at the point of his origin.
Right.
In the Bruce Timm universe, Batman came first.
Yeah, that's right. It's really good storytelling to have your character have those, opportunities to make that choice to go a different path. He's proactive, and it's his choice. He decides. Not, it might feel to him like the universe is telling him what to do, but he still has to make that choice. And it's I just think that makes him more relatable and more real. So that when he gets to the point where he is the Batman we all know that can do these amazing things that nobody else could possibly do, he's had to get past all of that.
Yeah, and also I love the subtlety of Alfred in this film, where it's obvious in the flashbacks especially, he didn't want him to do this. He was, of course, supporting him and what he felt he needed to do, but he was hoping and very subtly trying to convince him. Like, he's always like, hey, don't you want to go out with Andrea? Don't you want to do this? I love this exchange.
Yeah, and then, of course, when she comes back...
this exchange right here, where he says, you think you know everything about me. It's like, I diapered your bottom.
Right.
I bloody well ought to, sir. Oh, I love this film.
But I mean, that exchange is what I was talking about, where like, now that she's returned, he's right back to where he was.
Yeah.
Back at trying to get together.
Nothing like having an old girlfriend show up.
Right.
Rip those old wounds. Here's a shot of the mayor and the mop guy.
That's ridiculous. These are goofy pictures.
Yeah. If I was the mayor, I would not be happy about that photo.
No, I would have them all burned.
Yeah.
I guess the flashback dissolves are a little campy.
Yeah, maybe a little strong.
A little old fashioned.
But and also the music. I think the music is like in there every time.
Oh yeah, every time they do it's like.
Oh!
Yeah, it's a little over the top, maybe. But it's hard to tell where to draw the line, given that this Batman has always been pseudo period.
Yeah.
Where like it's timeless. We've got modern technology, but everything looks like it's kind of out of the 50s. And you've got 40s. You've got 40s. You got 40s and 50s, maybe 40s fashions and kind of really neutral car designs and things. There's the bats.
Yeah.
Like, what are the odds? How often does that happen?
I don't know. Every so often when I shame my parents.
But I guess part of what I like about that too is it could be coincidence, or maybe the universe really is telling him something. And I like that in a story like this because we are in a heightened universe.
Yeah, I mean, this is the DC universe where Mxyzptlk and Darkseid hang out, so...
Yeah, but it's even before they've decided this is the DC universe.
Yeah, it's true.
So even if this is just Batman and slightly more grounded Batman than maybe we've ever seen before on screen...
Hey, Joker!
Yeah, you can tell because of the nose. What was I talking about? It's more heightened, and so with this sort of story... Knowing that it's based in comic
that shot of her
thing, and it's a Batman that is capable again of things that nobody else can do. If he's the only person in existence who's going to be able to pull off the kinds of stuff he can and be the world's greatest detective, maybe the universe had to push him a little bit. Maybe there is a little bit of destiny here, and that's definitely a big theme in this: is destiny versus free will.
Yeah. Oh, constantly. I love the two shots of Alfred standing behind him in this film. This one, and the one at the end. And I just feel so much for Alfred in this film.
Yeah.
Watching his basically adopted son go through this. And of course, this is one of the most memorable scenes right here.
Oh, yeah, and this is one of the coolest animated scenes, I think, in all of this.
I love how black he looks. You get the feeling that the costume is completely black.
This transformation is amazing, and this is one of the scenes that most encapsulates what Batman is and how well these people understand this character.
I know, the music build-up.
He scares Batman. He scares Alfred just putting that costume on. Alfred knows who he is.
Yeah, and Alfred...
But it's just transformed. He became a different person. And I love that it partly happens, or maybe even mostly happens, because of this grim and sad breakup.
Yeah, and I love the fact that Alfred helped him build all that stuff. He knew what he was doing. But once he turns around and sees him in that mask and sees his eyes, I mean, the look of it just hits him right there. Like, oh my God, what have you become? I mean, the look of horror, in his voice, and Ephraim Zimbalist is just great in that scene.
I should mention that earlier, because again, it's been a little while since I've seen this. I made a big deal out of Bruce. Making a choice and choosing to be Batman over being with her. That's not exactly how it goes down.
Yeah,
given that she gives him a note and leaves, but he could have gone after her. I mean, like,
he is Batman after all. I mean, if he, he's the most stubborn guy in the DC universe.
Go try to find her. But again, I guess my point is he's decided to accept his destiny, as opposed to taking what he really wants. And then the question is, was it the right choice or the wrong choice? Given all the people that he helps and saves, you know, it's hard not to be glad he did that, and yet it's sad because we want him to be happy. He's a guy I like a lot.
Yeah. But think about it in this universe, in this continuity. I mean, he would go on to stop Ra's al Ghul from killing half the population of Earth.
Yeah, exactly. We need this guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, more and more I'm thinking that there's some actual real Hand of Destiny stuff going on here.
Oh, and I love the rotted decor of the World's Fair.
What a great payoff for all of that.
Yeah.
To bring this back. Kind of maybe a little too easy that Joker happens to have chosen this as his new current hideout, given how much it thematically plays with the rest of what's going on in the movie.
It is coincidental.
It's a little coincidental now that I think about it, just because we've seen him before and he's had other kinds of hideouts. So yeah, that's a little bit of a coincidence, but you know.
Maybe he
did that knowing who he was about to be dealing with.
Yeah, although how would he know that? Like, how would he know that Bruce and Andrea have...
He doesn't know about her, but he knows that somebody is knocking off everybody that he used to work with.
Well, he knows it's her.
Wait, he does know it's her?
He does, because he killed her father.
No, but he doesn't know... No, I don't think he knows that it's her, though.
Well, I would assume that,
Yeah, because later on, he's surprised by it, too. Remember that, again,
that's right.
her dad is not the only person it could be. There's other red herrings.
That's right. Once he sees Phantasm, he knows it's her. That's right. At first, he thinks maybe it is Batman. And hopes it's Batman.
Yeah, exactly.
But once he sets up the trap, and Phantasm walks into it, he knows it's her, because after all, he's the one who killed her father.
The background going red is a nice...
Oh, isn't that cool?
Touch. Yeah, I love that.
That's one of those things that maybe you don't see on the first viewing, but your head sees it. Yeah, right there, Joker decided to kill him.
Joker is so sadistic in this universe, and I think that it's made worse by the fact that we never see him actually kill anyone.
Yeah,
I've always thought that. Like I've always thought that that those kinds of what am I trying to say? Like those difficulties with how far could they push the envelope? I think actually helps them in subtlety.
Yeah.
Limitations, I guess, is what I was trying to say.
Here's one of the best dialogue exchanges too. Because he questions her, and I love this exchange where he says, "Are you still taking orders from your father?" And then she has this incredible line of it's just coming up in just a second. I'm sure you remember it. Get out. And then he thinks, he has her with, he's still taking orders from your father.
Yeah.
And then she says, the only one being controlled by his parents is you. Ooh.
Yeah, that's a great line. And
drop the mic. That is a drop the mic line. And she's really upset, and she regrets saying it, and regrets everything.
Right, but isn't it somewhat suspicious too? I mean, I think that the biggest clue that we have that she is really Phantasm is that she is so cold to him. Because honestly, she's the one that screwed up their relationship, not him.
Yeah.
And she acts like she's kind of blaming him for it, but he really didn't do anything. I mean, like, if anything, he maybe wouldn't have become Batman if it hadn't been for that note.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's obviously projecting. Like,
yeah, exactly. But I'm just saying that's a clue. That's a little bit of a tip to the audience.
Yeah.
And it's nice and subtle, and we're not going to immediately pick up on it. But watching it again the second time, you go, oh, that's why she's acting like that. Okay, it's good storytelling.
And we get to see a dead body in this movie.
Yay! Oh, the things we get excited about, Manos.
I know. This, I think, was the first dead body we've seen in the Bruce Timm universe.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. That's just creepy. Good stuff.
And let me ask you something, because this is something that's always kind of bothered me.
Yeah.
How does Andrea disappear?
Well, that's what I was trying to talk about earlier when I didn't get a chance to finish that thought.
Because this, I think, is her best disappearance, where I can't figure out, you can see all the spots around her where she could have escaped. And I don't know where she goes.
Yeah, it really doesn't make any sense. There are a lot of places, it's here, and then there's one toward the end where, she just seems to somehow teleport or something. 'Cause remember that she doesn't have superpowers. All she has is these, jets that shoot out smoke or dry ice or something and can mask her escape. So she's gotta actually run away.
Yeah. Here, this right here. Where did she go?
Yeah, there's exactly, cause he puts his arms all around trying to find her, and where did she go?
And the helicopter shows right up and blows all that smoke away.
Yep. And remember that, she's playing Batman's game. Yeah. I mean, if anybody would know the most likely place for her to escape to, it'd be Batman.
Yeah. By the way, I love how
does this stuff without smoke.
I love how this guy is shooting at Batman. He really wants to hit Batman. Check this out. Hey, ease up, Chuck Heston.
Well, I mean, they're just following orders. They were because they think that.
He really is following orders. Oh my.
Well, that's a good point.
That bit always cracks me up. Man, yeah. Are you just holding? Is that a special gun where you just hold the trigger and it just keeps firing?
One thing I want to mention that I think is really neat is that there are some tropes that are used in this movie that were attempted in the previous Batman films and are handled better here. Yes. The biggest one is the frame job, because they tried that in Batman Returns, where the Penguin and Catwoman try to frame Batman, and it's kind of it's there for 10 minutes, and then Batman foils it real fast. Here, it's a major part of the film.
Yeah.
And it's also done for a great thematic purpose to parallel these two people, because Batman and Phantasm, of course, are Bruce and Andrea, and they were almost together. They were arguably should have been the loves of each other's lives, and they both end up in these really sad, tragic places, and she takes it much, much farther than he does, and turns Batman into into a revenge character, and into she basically takes the Batman mantle and makes a mockery of it, and it's really sad. And so it's cool that she frames him, because they're both the same costumed character, but one takes it too far.
Yeah, well, essentially what
they want the same things, except she wants revenge by the end.
Well, Batman. Well, see, the thing is that I always admired about Batman was he also wants revenge, and he's even said that from time to time. And he takes that
where I am vengeance, I am the night comes from.
Yeah, he takes that vengeance and all that anger and hatred and fuel, but he's been able to turn it into something positive. Right. And for the most part, he's been able to walk that line pretty effortlessly. I mean, he's challenged from time to time, but usually he is. And Andrea, doesn't. She goes right into she just jumps right into the darkness of hate. And what's sad when you think in Justice League, when you see her one more time, she's basically become an assassin.
Yep. That's where that kind of thinking inevitably leads. I like that they took her there. Keep in mind, of course, that Bruce is such a conflicted character that sometimes he'll say it's vengeance But the only time we ever hear him really admit that, not even admit that, the only time we hear him say, I am vengeance, is when he's, like, trying to scare people. Remember that he's not going to actually admit that to her. Toward the end of this movie, he actually has the line to Andrea, what will vengeance solve?
Yeah.
So there's a contradiction there, and it's not a story problem, and it's not a problem with the series. It's a conflicted character that is having a difficult time defining himself.
Yeah, and also, failing to see, a possible hypocrisy in that line. I remember when I watched this.
Precisely.
I went to see this with a friend, and when he asked her, what will vengeance solve? I remember my friend and I laughed. It's like,
what have you been doing?
Are you insane? You are in a Batman costume beating people up, and you're asking her? It's like, maybe you could have got away with that line out of the costume.
I wanted to mention, we just saw some really nice soft focus. That was kind of a big deal for this kind of animation.
Yeah.
To do the something focused in the foreground but not in the background, and then to change the focus.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, like, they were doing some things like that in this movie that they weren't doing as much of in the cartoon show, and so or in the animated series. So it definitely looks more theatrical. But still, there were obviously those limitations too. No, you're right.
Dad?
No, you're right. I mean, like, he really is obviously a perpetrator of vengeance, but importantly, he only takes it to a certain point.
Yeah. Well, he knows where the line is. And what's the big difference between him and Andrea is, she didn't see the line while she was just running past it.
Yeah.
She didn't even bother to check. And it's kind of led her on a path that, has, I don't know, you get the feeling, has led to a lot of, sadness and sorrow. And who knows, in between the Justice League Batman Beyond episode, who she's killed over the years. I mean, yeah, she's probably killed evil people, but, she's probably killed decent people or people just trying to make political change. Assassins don't really get too involved with that kind of stuff. They just get the job and kill. So, I don't know, there's just so much that, even with, tragedy can be done without the use of killing the character. Oh, I love the scene.
Yeah, that's a great point.
I love the fact that Alfred has that once turn again.
Yeah, I didn't repeat that again. That's cool.
And I don't know what happened.
Yeah, and this is neat that, now Bruce
they
is
did it.
once again stuck with. Oh yeah, clearly. Now, yeah. Look at that smile. Nah, he's a happy man.
Yeah.
He had a good time last night.
Yep.
But no, it's I like that now she comes back, and briefly Bruce might have to choose between Batman and her, except that he's outbeen Batman for a good long time.
Yeah.
And what do you do with that?
Well, it's his life now. And so many people depend on him. And we'll know just from watching the rest of the series and Justice League and Batman Beyond, like, many more people will depend on him.
Yeah.
And he knows that. He knows this in this movie.
This is a wonderful study of the sacrifices that heroes have to make, and can you begin to have a personal life and be a hero, or do you have to be completely selfless?
I love that transition right there. Like, hey, we kind of look like my parents.
Oh yeah, I never noticed that. That's brilliant.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, that is really cool. And of course, what would his parents have wanted?
I love that line about, I'm sure they would have wanted you happy.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about this Joker thing. Do you like that they gave him an origin in this? Because I've always been on the fence about it.
I have also been on the fence about it because as far as I'm concerned, the Killing Joke is the origin, and that's that. And also, they do make mention in a later episode he tried to be a comedian.
Yeah, that always seemed kind of contradictory.
It does. Although, who knows? Maybe he wanted to be a comedian and he just kind of found himself, needing work. And he kind of got involved in the wrong people.
Yeah, maybe so. Sure. No, you're right. Those things could be mutually exclusive.
Yeah. I don't think they're, too contradictory. Boy, I love Joker in this scene.
So it's interesting because, again, like Tim Burton's Batman, we've now got Bruce Timm taking the Joker and making him somewhat related to Batman's background, but not going anything like as far as Tim Burton did.
Oh, way more subtle than Tim Burton's version of the Joker. He played a part.
He was there,
yeah.
But they never had two words together.
Yeah.
And obviously he didn't kill his parents.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the fact, he killed Andrea's father, and that did kind of help push Batman into being Batman. But, I really like the way it's sewn in.
I agree with the Joker. I do think, I also think Phantasm looks like the ghost of Christmas Future. And isn't it kind of fun to have the Joker being motivated by someone's probably going to try to kill me? It's kind of fun. Like, this is not a master plot thing for the Joker. He's just trying to keep from getting knocked off.
Yeah, first
that's
it was
great.
Yeah, that's a great point, because at first it's just another, I'm going to attack Batman plot, and then, oh, wait, this person's after me. Yeah. I better do something about it.
He's got personal motivation here. That's fun. And gives him, and it makes me a lot more okay with the fact that he's in this and makes him less shoehorned. And fun for that being his origin, that he's got, or not even his origin. We're not shown here how he becomes the Joker. I just mean that we saw him before he became the Joker, I guess.
We've been given enough.
Yeah, we have enough. I'm just saying that, I think some people don't care for this because they like not knowing at all whatsoever.
I love that scary shot of Joker.
Oh, I know, it's terrifying. But that's my favorite thing about Dark Knight, and why I like Heath Ledger's Joker so much, is that we don't have any idea where he comes from.
That's true, and that's one of the things I like about it.
I
like the fact that he
Sorry, go ahead.
He is forgotten. He is just so far gone, or
yeah.
He is the one who always will have the answers, and that's it. Or
maybe even he doesn't know, like you said. I love that.
Yeah. So, I gotta say, Hart Bachner's acting in these sequences is really good.
The sign outside the hospital here, I just noticed, is actually missing a few letters.
Really?
It's neat. It's neat, some of these details that they pack in there.
Oh, and I love how beautiful Batman looks in this scene, where he just sneaks in.
But unlike Andrea, we know how he gets places. Look, a window.
Yeah. You know what? I would be totally willing to believe that she can teleport.
How? Where did she get that technology?
I don't know, but keep in mind, this is the same universe that has Cadmus.
Yes, but
we didn't see that yet.
Any of that, yeah.
But I don't know.
The reason I don't like that, Manos, is that they really play it up like, look, she's just a woman with brains.
Yeah.
And I like that a lot, and so I just feel like they're a little too contrived in how they have her get around. It's not like a huge giant problem, because you've also got that kind of sticky thing of, well, it's in animation, and there are a lot of things they don't straight up explain in these sorts of things sometimes. Not that it's a cartoon, it's not that. And real physics generally work, but you know what I'm talking about, where there's a degree of suspension of disbelief in this sort of heightened reality, where it's like, Well, she's a supervillain, so she gets, like, you know, she gets a hall pass for that sort of thing.
Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, it's so...
We do this with lots of villains.
One of my favorite Batman shots right there.
I guess the only reason I complain about it so much is because I love this movie so much, there's not much else to complain about.
That's true. It's like trying to pick apart,
Yeah.
Tiny moments in, like, any kind of film. But yeah, I don't know. It's just something to think about. They leave it vague enough for interpretation, I think.
Do we at any point in this movie get my favorite Batman being a detective thing, which is him putting a flashlight in his mouth?
Oh.
I don't remember if he ever does that in this, but that has been burned in my mind as, like, the iconic image of Batman detective work in Bruce Timm's universe is Batman with a flashlight. Like, that's when you know stuff's getting real. Batman's got a flashlight in his mouth while he's combing through files.
I did that in Red Knight 6, actually. Did you notice?
Yeah, and I about lost my mind when I saw that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I was thinking precisely, it looked just like that, and also your character Red Knight has kind of that same chiseled jaw, and I always thought that it was depending on who's drawing him, it seems like it's based a little bit on this.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh man, that looks just like Bruce Timm's Batman. No, I did notice that. And
okay, good.
I mentioned something to you about it. I got really excited about that, actually.
I love that whole scene. All right, now, I think this is the scene where I kind of figured it out while watching it the first time. Like, oh, yikes, he's dead. That must mean she's at the Phantasm. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, you're right, because the other guy that we thought maybe it could possibly be, he's been taken out of commission now.
Yeah. Wow, I love how quiet Joker is in that scene. Like, he doesn't kill her, doesn't threaten her, doesn't even say anything.
He's not wearing a Hawaiian shirt or anything.
Yeah.
He is.
I do wonder. I do wish they could have invested in what kind of person he was during that time. I mean, obviously they probably can't, but.
Oh, the robot. So creepy. This is a great setting.
Yeah.
Okay, now here, she came through a window.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, at this point he's figured it out, but he didn't know a couple scenes ago.
After he saw her for the first time, he...
Is that when he knew it?
Yeah,
I'm sorry, we're sitting here repiecing this movie together because it's been so long since I've seen it.
After he saw Phantasm for the first time, I believe he knew who it was. And, which is so great with him in those scenes, like afterwards, like, he knows everything. And this fight's really cool. I mean, you can actually almost watch a checklist of all the things Bruce Timm and company wanted to do in the show and couldn't.
Yeah, and then they just threw it in this movie. You're absolutely right. Well, not threw it. I mean, integrated it well. Here's another one of those tropes that has been attempted once and wasn't done as effectively. Let's put two villains in the same movie. You know how we're going to do it? Not team them up.
Yeah, they're trying to kill each other.
Yeah, it makes it a little more complicated. You're right. You know, we've got a three-pronged war going on. It's Batman versus the bad guys, but it's also the bad guys versus the bad guys.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's more complicated than just good versus evil. Sometimes bad people want to kill other bad people.
And that's one of the things I love so much about Bruce Timm's Batman series and Justice League universe and everything. As well as Superman is... Now, come on, she just appeared out of nowhere.
Yeah, how did that happen? I mean, like, how'd she get down there that fast?
Yeah, that was teleporting.
But, that's the big one that always bothered me the most.
Yeah, but anyway, I think I think Bruce Timm taught a generation of kids about the complexities of life.
Yes, I think you're absolutely right about that. Isn't it nice that this is not a movie where the villain is in any way whatsoever trying to kill Batman?
Yeah, I mean,
Batman is stuck in the middle of this, you know? And when she tries to pin things on him, it's not personal. She doesn't even know it's Bruce Wayne yet. I made the mistake earlier of saying maybe she knew it already. She clearly didn't when she started trying to frame him. Now, after she knew already, the damage was done, so the cops were still going after him.
Yeah, it's like, kind of already in this race. Gotta keep going.
So he gets personally involved in all of this stuff, but it's not just a generic, the bad guy wants to kill Batman so that they can, so that he won't be in their way for their villainous plot. And also, the stakes are very high, but they're personal stakes.
Yeah.
It's not about a villain trying to steal a lot of money or take over the world or even vengeance on a grand scale. She simply has a hit list.
Yeah. I know. I love the fact that the city isn't in danger. They're not trying to kill everyone in Gotham.
And that's why the big Batman versus the Joker on a model of the city thing is so great.
Mm-hmm.
Because we get that in a little way. We get to see Batman versus the Joker where the city is in peril, but it's not the real city.
I always found that
just a great scene.
I always found that scene interesting because it's almost like a reverse of the classic Dick Sprang scenes where they'd be fighting on giant typewriters. In this,
it's kind of like that. It's also
the reverse of it.
Reverse of a giant monster fight because it's like the hero and the villain, but in the middle of a big city, and they're the giants, but it's not really a city. But then also you've got the classic, Fleischer, flying contraptions coming after you thing.
Yeah.
I guess we're talking about all of that right before it happens.
Yeah.
So it will happen, and then Manos will read his grocery list for tomorrow.
Yay. I'm getting ketchup.
Are you getting relish also?
No, I hate relish.
Oh, okay. Do you like mustard?
I love mustard.
Do you like Dijon mustard or like yellow mustard?
Yellow mustard. Come on, I'm not a commie.
What is your favorite kind of pickle?
We don't really, I don't love pickles. I like pickles. And Lindsay hates them, so.
Oh, okay. So you don't get pickles a lot.
Yeah, no pickles.
Oh, there's the Joker wearing a building hat. I just love this. And I like that the Joker, by the way, is aware of what his theme song is and uses it all the time.
Yeah, he probably...
Have you ever noticed that? Like he knows the music that Shirley Walker scored for him and is constantly putting it in his evil traps.
I remember when I watched this,
Oh, he lost a tooth and there's blood everywhere.
Yeah, I remember watching this and thinking, well, when we see the Joker again in the show, is he going to be missing that tooth?
No, he'll get it replaced.
Yeah, he got it replaced. I would hate to be his dentist.
Well, yeah, you notice how yellow his teeth always are.
Yeah. Well, and also, if you,
they're yellow.
If you cut him with that hook, you're dead.
Something else that's really fun about this scene that I just thought of is we see in at least one place in the series, and I want to say it's before this, but honestly I'm not positive, where they have to fight between like a couple of trains, and he just rode on a miniature version of one on the top of it, like a surfboard.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of fun that we get a similar fight to things they've done in the actual city, but in miniature.
Yeah, yeah.
This has got to be one of my favorite fight scenes in all of Bruce Timm Batman, and it's probably the best Batman versus Joker fight.
It's and like continues on like with the jetpack scene.
That's what I mean. As it goes along, I mean like this kind of I don't want to say degenerates, of course, but I mean like it suddenly turns into a Batman versus Joker fight. But that's fair. I mean, Batman never wants the Joker to get away or anything, although, I don't know, I think it would be more important right now for him to be going after Andrea than him, but where is she?
Yeah, well, I mean, Joker will kill everybody. Andrea wants to kill the Joker. So, you make your choice there.
Yeah, you're right. Oh, look at that jetpack. Where did he get that? Was it just there? Did they have a jetpack of the future and it was functional?
I guess so. Hey, Batman, you don't have to work that hard. He's going to be landing in like 2 minutes as soon as the pack runs out.
Yeah, that's a great point. I never thought of that. Hey, Batman, those things run out of fuel. We just follow him on foot for a while and then catch him.
You never know when to quit, do you, pal? I love it. And,
oh, man, it's still entertaining, Manos.
Oh, it's always entertaining.
It's 20 years old, it's still entertaining.
Do you know where Andrea Beaumont got her name?
I want to say that she was named after the voice casting director.
She is, and
I don't know where Beaumont comes from.
Well,
Andrea Romano, who, by the way, is of course still working for them and casting the DVD.
Yeah. Well, the origins have to do with they were trying to figure out a girlfriend name for the character, and there was this running joke that Kevin Conroy would make every so often in voice recordings of the show, because they have to do like sound effects of them going like
right.
beaten up. So occasionally he would make a joke after he'd do a whole bunch and go, "Oh, Andrea," as a joke.
That's hilarious.
So they thought, hey, let's make his girlfriend's name Andrea.
I really think that if this movie had been, I know we talked about this earlier, but I still think that if this movie had been properly advertised,
yeah, they didn't
a lot of adults
this to Siskel and Ebert.
Oh no! You're right. They didn't, and then Siskel and Ebert found it and they reviewed it anyway because they liked it so much.
Yeah, I think it was like 3 years later they reviewed it. Like
they loved it, and they said, "Why can't live action movies be like this?" And they said, it's in animation, but this proves what you can do with animation because look, I care about these people and it feels real to me, and yeah.
Hold on, where'd they go?
Yeah, but what I was gonna, yeah, wait,
she even took the Joker this time.
Yeah, look, there's plenty of light, Batman. Where are they? Well, anyway, but what I was gonna say is, I really think that if more adults had seen this, this thing would have been, just eaten up by people. And possibly would have led to more sophisticated live action films. I like the.
This could have been, this could have led to better, like, live action Batman or superhero films or
more serious animation. Yes.
Or Warner Brothers animation. Warner Brothers animation was trying very hard during the 90s to be, the other Disney. And they tried several times, and this was one of the films they tried with. And they kept failing.
And it's sad that this failed because they could have become the yin to Disney's yang, where Disney's putting out these, more wholesome, family-friendly movies, and Warner Brothers is cranking out the adult animated movies.
When after this didn't go, they tried to do more of the Disney kind of stuff.
Yeah, and that didn't work for them very well either. I mean, there's this whole market that was never cornered. It was never cornered. It's not cornered now. Nobody's got it.
And this film is so much better. This is one of the best animated films of all, but in the 90s specifically. I mean, I'd put this against anything. And then we get to this. We just talked over Alfred's scene where he talks to Batman, and boy, that dialogue where he tells Bruce how he's been proud of him, never losing it, and
why is this necklace in Braille? Oh.
And, there's the second time where he's watching over him. Just breaks my heart every time I see it. And then, of course, we have Andrea pretty much heading towards, I guess, her destiny of. Now,
I want to mention this because when I reviewed this, a long time, a while back now, I mentioned that it was weird that here she is, but we have, of course, no idea what the heck she did with the Joker. And, of course, she would have killed the Joker because that was her whole M.O. And there was nothing that happened in that last scene with Batman that would have prevented her from wanting to do that. She's not really had a character change. As you said, she's later going to become an assassin, right?
Yeah.
This is like, what happened to the Joker? Well, there's a comic book, and it explains it, but that's not canon.
Yeah.
And it is kind of weird that, of course, the Joker continues going on after this because, yeah, she would have killed him. I mean, she had him in her clutches.
Yeah.
Where is he?
I guess this film did the best they could with, like, well, we'd love to kill the Joker, but we kind of can't because we're still doing this show.
Well, I don't think they wanted to because they wanted to.
No. I'm talking about thematically. I mean,
sure,
if this was just a standalone film, he would have to have died.
You're right.
But, this is part of a series, that they gotta go back to.
Well, and what kind of a universe is it where, everybody else that she wants revenge on dies, but the Joker gets to live?
Yeah, I know. How's that fair? I'm sure Joker's killed, like, way more people than those mob guys.
That's not fair. I mean, she's doing the world a favor.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that makes it right. You know what I mean, though.
Yeah, I do know what you mean. This film also ends similar in a way that Batman Returns ends, where, Batman was framed, and the cops were chasing him, and then we kind of forgot about that, and we saw the bat signal at the end. It's like, are we cool again, or are we trying to trap you?
Oh, that's a great point, too. Because how would they know what happened?
Yeah, they don't know. Did he, show up and go, hey, everybody, it's cool. Somebody else you didn't know about.
I mean, obviously, Gordon wasn't able to stop any of that. But you're right. Gordon should have really figured into this movie, and I think it's a running time problem. If you take the Joker out of this movie, you could have had that.
Yeah.
And the reason that it would have been important, of course, is because you would have loved to have had the scenes where he's trying to stop City Hall from going after Batman, right? Those classic, Gordon taking up for Batman but still trying to keep his job kinds of scenes. Could have used some of that. This song is counterintuitive.
I know, it's a terrible song. This is Tia Carrera, by the way.
Oh, okay. Why do we have to have this here? Why can't we replace this with, Kiss from a Rose?
Yeah, I mean, let's just take Kiss from a Rose and, put it on this movie.
Yeah, if I were going to do a fan edit, that would be the only thing I would do to this movie. I'm keeping it exactly the same, but put that song here in place of this.
Yeah.
That would be my fan edit. You go, why didn't you make a fan edit for that?
Let's see. I don't know. Now I'm thinking about songs I could have used. But
all I'm thinking of are later Schumacher Batman songs.
Oh yeah.
Shoot me,
or oh god, what was the song? The Hunter becomes the prey, or something like that. Oh, that was a good song.
Oh, I don't even know what that is.
The Hunter becomes the game. There's this awesome song on the Batman Forever soundtrack. It's so moody and cool. I don't remember who sung it, but it's actually one of my favorite songs on the Batman soundtracks.
Wow, this is a bad song. I just want to break into, and I swear.
Yeah.
By the moon, and no.
Yeah, well, don't forget Tia Carrera from Wayne's World did try to sort of have a music career.
Yeah, clearly.
And the best she could do is the soundtrack to Batman Mask of the Phantasm.
Emphasis on tried.
Yeah. Well, I'm guessing she was on Warner Brothers contract and was like, well, can we get somebody to do a song at the end? Well, we got Tia Carrera. She comes cheap.
Yeah, she wasn't going to be on the direct to DVD movie had it gone that way. That's or VHS. Wow, did I say that? 1993, friends. Oh man. Well, anyway, Manos, I think that might clock in as the shortest movie we've done so far.
I would say so. Yeah. That's 80 minutes?
Yeah. Well, that was a lot of fun, man. I know we spent a lot of that just trying to suss out the plot again because it's been a while since we've seen it. But I really enjoyed watching it with you, and I hope everybody else had a good time too. Do you have any closing remarks, Manos?
No. It's been a few months since I've seen this, but I still love this movie. I used to watch it all the time when I got it on video at first. So it's great just seeing it again, especially being able to talk about it with you. This was awesome.
Oh, thanks, man. Well, I really enjoyed it, and you gave us plenty of insights in things that I didn't know anything about, especially voice casting. So thanks a great deal for that. And Manos and I will be back with you again very soon. I don't know if there will be a commentary in between my and Manos' next commentary, but we have something planned for you, and I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I will give you the hint that it will be something unlike we have never done before.
Ooh.
Manos knows what I'm talking about.
What could it be?
Well, anyway, everybody, thanks as always for listening. Really hope you enjoyed it. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm the real Manos.
We'll see you again soon.